Hey, hey, hey. Hey, I'm back with more overalls and more DIYs. You thought I ran out. I didn't. I'm sweating. All right, I'm back. I'm already sweating. I'm Hallie. I make videos on lifestyle improvement, life hacks, and DIYs. Today's video is for you specifically. You, somebody who's seen DIY makeovers of kitchens, bathrooms, homes, all these things, but maybe you haven't done them yourself. So today's video is about DIY for beginners. What are the first DIY projects you can start in your home to start feeling more comfortable in your DIY experience adventure journey? And I have 7 tips, 7 things that you can start right now as your first DIY projects as you start to feel more comfortable in the fact that you can do it. You can do it yourself. All right, the first thing that I suggest you do as you are a DIY for beginner is start with the wall outlets. So, you know where you flip your switch on and off. You know where you plug your things in and out. Those things that usually are white or yellow, I think that's the most common thing when you move in, unless you change them yourself. They're usually just white or yellow. I would suggest you change them, because chances are, if you're into DIYing at home, chances are you most likely, you could live at a newer place, but most likely you're interested in jazzing up your place because maybe it's a little old. So a lot of them have the ones that you can replace fairly easily for something a little fancy, something a little better. For instance, for myself, I have felt the copper feel. So I've replaced the majority of my wall outlets with a copper one. Before it was either yellow or white. Why are things yellow when you move in your places? I don't know. It's not that it's old. Maybe it once was white. Maybe. All that matters is it's not going to be no more. So all you have to do with this is buy it from Home Depot, Target, Amazon, wherever. And when you're buying it, make sure it matches. So if you have an outlet that has an outlet on the top and bottom, obviously make sure you have one for the top and the bottom. If one has a switch and then an outlet's on the side all in one, that's the one you need to get. Make sure you get the right kind, because there's different kinds. Make sure you got the one that's for you. And then once you have it at your home and you're ready to get started, all you need is, you actually do need a tool. Most of the things I suggest, you don't need a tool, but if you either need a wrench, a screwdriver. I honestly don't know the difference between a wrench or a screwdriver. You just need that tool that is nice and flat. I don't suggest tools for a lot of things, but the only 3 things I suggest that I literally only use myself is a hammer. It's so bad that I don't know what these are called, but the screwdriver that's flat, right? It screws this way. And the one that has kind of the 4 little edges, it looks like almost like a bullet. Those are the only 3 things I've ever used. When you're DIYing like me, very easy. Those are only really 3 things that you need to have. So once you have it, then it is time to get to work. So take your tool, and usually, most likely, it's the flat one. I really should know what these are called, but that's what's so great about it. You can use them for years and never know what these things are called. But the one with the flat little edge, and you just turn it until it comes off. You're literally screwing it off. Screw it off from the top, the bottom. If you have a big one, it has 4 little parts. Once you've done that, it is off. If you've unscrewed it and it's hard to come off, just use the bottom and kind of like get it off a little bit, and then it'll come off really easily. And all you have to do is put the screws back in the holes of the new one and screw it back on. It's literally that easy. I suggest doing it in areas that you see the most. So maybe the wall, maybe the outlet right by your door, that's the one you see the most. Maybe the one in the bathroom, maybe one for the kitchen light. The ones that you want to look more aesthetically pleasing, that's the ones I suggest you do. Easy peasy. All right, the second thing that you can do as you're on your DIY beginner journey is the curtains. The curtains. So when you move in a place, granted, usually when you move in, it has no curtains at all, or it has those ugly blinds like it did at mine that kind of just go across this way. And you know, they're decent, they're plain, but they're not beautiful, they're not pretty. So I suggest finding the window that you use the most and putting some curtains over it. Some curtains that you like, some light curtains, because usually if you use dark ones, it's just because you like to sleep in and you don't want the natural light to come in. But that's not you. You wake up early, you're about your day, and you want some curtains that make you want to get up, that let the light in. So my first suggestion is the living room, the first big window that you have. You can get a pole from Target, Amazon, Home Depot. Actually, everything that I mentioned you can get from Target, Home Depot, and Amazon. Basic places. And so you're supposed to measure how wide your window is, But, you know, I like to live on the edge and just go to the store and go, that looks about right, and then just risk it. But there might be a chance your window is bigger than the pole, so just letting you know, if you don't measure, you take that little risk. But anyways, that's when you'll finally use your hammer, and you'll just put that pole up above your window. I usually suggest an inch or two. I usually suggest 3 inches above your window, because the higher your curtain is, the bigger it makes your window look. If you put it right at the top, then it doesn't make your window look anything special. You want to look special. So put it at least like maybe 3-4 inches above where your window is, the pole, and then it drapes on down. And then when you're using that, sometimes these curtains come with like little hooks, and you can have the hook hang, but I suggest always using that empty part of the curtain and putting your pole through that. It allows it to just look a little classier that way. So if it has an opening in the curtain, instead of using hooks and you see those rings, if they're not really bougie and cute, just put that pole right through the curtain, and that's it. That's literally you doing a DIY. Putting up curtains is a DIY, because you're not just leaving your window by itself. You're using a hammer and nails and a curtain rod. Look at you. Easy peasy. For me, I have curtains that I put up in my front window, my living room, and my kitchen. And I'm probably going to do my bedroom window, but a little small one. Okay, the third thing that you can do as you're a DIY for beginners is hang something, hang something, hang something. So this can be something on your wall. If you want to have some kind of wall art or wall gallery, this can be a frame, this can be a shelf, something that you're hanging that's saying, look at my glorious wall. Isn't it beautiful? Look at me. So that can be anything like a plant, a bookshelf, a shelf that just has a candle on it. Hang something on your wall and make it look amazing. Give it some personality. And if you're like, I don't have that mind yet, I'm not creative, then think very simple. When you come through the door, would you like to place something down when you first come in? Maybe you can hang something there. Are you running out of space on your bookshelf and you would love to have just like a little ledge where you can put your bedtime book right there? Then maybe you can put a little shelf right there. Just think of things that you do, and that would be helpful if you had something hanging there. If not, Pinterest is your best friend. Steal the idea from somebody else. They have it out there. If you don't want to come up with your own idea of how to hang something on your wall, see something you like, and then just do the same thing. All is fair in DIY and decorating. I can't promise I won't do that move again. Okay, the fourth thing that you can do as you're a DIY for beginner is paint something. Now, you don't have to go crazy and paint a whole wall, but paint something small. Like before I mentioned, I was painting just a little mirror frame that I had. I was just painting around the edges. Maybe you have a mason jar and you want to start using it for something. Maybe you can paint your mason jar. If you saw my DIY for my kitchen, it was very simple to actually spray paint the rust on the refrigerator. That was like the easiest beginner advice I would give if you have a rusty refrigerator and they give you the special paint for that. That is a very simple thing you can do. And actually, I personally think spray painting is a lot easier than stroking and painting something with a brush, because you're just like, all of it. I want all of it that color. It's just so easy and it's kind of fun. Maybe there's a jar that you want to paint because it's just boring and clear. You can paint that, you can spray paint that. I know the next project I'm probably going to do in my kitchen is a lot of wine bottles. Have you seen those when they're wine bottles and then they spray paint them a different color because that just looks like a little vase for a little flower? You could totally do that. And guess what? If you mess up, it was a wine bottle. You were going to recycle it or throw it away anyways. No harm, no foul. So find something small before you decide to paint an entire wall, basically. And speaking of mason jars, that gets us to number 5. The fifth thing that you can do is incorporate a mason jar some way, somehow into a DIY project. Mason jars are great. I remember like probably way back in the day, mason jars were thought of as like a poor thing, but now they're like a bougie thing. If you got a mason jar, it's like, yes, girl. People be using them at weddings. So whether it be like I used, for example, in my kitchen or my bathroom, I use a mason jar that is now a new soap dispenser. So if you saw my kitchen or my bathroom, you saw that now I use a mason jar as a soap dispenser. All I did was go on Amazon or Home Depot, I think, and I just got a top that gets you, I don't know why I can't use technical words today. All I did was go online, I got the top and the spout and the straw, and all I did was put that 3 things together, screw it on, bam, done, easy peasy. Very easy thing to do. Also, if you put 2 things together, paint a mason jar. And I'm sure you've seen all these people who paint a mason jar, and then it can be something that you use to hold your knives in your kitchen. It could be something to hold your pins on your desk. Mason jars could be used for so many things. It could be used to hold your keys. It could be used to hold your accessories. It could be used for anything you honestly use a jar for. You could probably turn it into a candle. Ooh, with wax in it. That's such a good idea. Ooh. I'm gonna learn how to do that, and I'll tell you how to do it when I learn it. But yes, incorporate, see if you have any mason jars, or buy mason jars, usually just $1, and find a way that you can incorporate it and maybe spray paint it, turn it into something that once was nothing into something. Very easy. We're talking basics. We're talking basics. And the sixth thing that you can do to DIY your space for beginners, very easy, is change the knobs. Change the knobs on your cabinets, change the knobs on your desk, change the knobs on your drawer, change the knobs. And how you do this is simple. You don't really have to measure it, because from my experience, all the knobs are created equal. You just get any kind of knob, and it literally goes like this. Unscrew, what is it, righty-tighty, so lefty-loosey, it's off. Grab your new knob. It can come from Michael's, Amazon, Target, Home Depot, wherever. You take that knob, you rotate it righty-tighty in. And look at you, bam, you got new knobs. You got a whole new situation. If you do that to all the knobs on your desk, you have a whole new desk. Do that to all the knobs on your dresser, you got a whole new dresser. And you'd even paint it and go crazy on it. Knobs are game changers. If you don't believe me, try it and tell me how it goes. I'm sweating. The only way you'll have to get technical is if your knob has like more of a handle compared to just a circle, then you gotta get a handle too. Or you can honestly just get 2 knobs. There's no rules to this. There's no rules. All right, and the final and 7th thing that you can do as a DIY beginner is, do you think you know? Hooks! That's right, you could add hooks anywhere in your home or in your space. So, a hook can be, for instance, I look to my right and I have my keys. They're on a hook. Right when I come home, you don't want to lose your keys no more. Put a hook right by the door. They can come in different ways. You can get the sticky hook. Those usually come from Target, where it just has a sticky back, and it's usually white, and you just slam it on there, bam, and it's right there, and it's a nice and simple one. And they have some really cute ones. There's some that look a little marble. There's some that look a little bit more white and classic and chic or rustic. There's so many different kinds. It's a lot of versatility in the types of hooks you can get. And if you don't get the sticky kind, that's one time you will have to use a hammer or nail and just hammer into the wall a nail, and that's it. And then bam, the hook's on there. Easy peasy. So suggestions on hooks would be for your keys. Another hook that I did was I got a hook from Target, and I use that to hang my copper pot to get that copper feel for my kitchen. Another one is in my bedroom. Another one is in my closet. And when I want to hang like my coat, there's a hook right there. And you can even change the hooks in your bathroom that already exist. If you're not trying to create hooks, then you can replace the ones that you have that don't look so pretty. Because you know, not all the time your towel doesn't cover the entire hook for the towel rack. Rack and hooks, those are basically the same thing. Basically can change that as well. Usually has a screw on one side, a screw on the other. Just unscrew that sucker. You probably should measure it, but I probably won't measure if I ever change mine. Just letting you know the risk you take when you don't measure. And you can replace it, and I always suggest this is rental friendly as long as you keep the old one and just put it back when you move out. So remember, these hooks could be for keys, hats, towels, jackets, anything that you want. You can use it just to hang a wall plant. I want a wall plant. Look, talking to you is giving me more ideas. There's so many things that you can do with hooks. Try it out. The most basic one is if you don't have a hook for your keys, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? You can easily save that space of putting on a countertop by putting it on the wall right by the door. I haven't lost my keys in years. I hope I didn't jinx myself, but I haven't. They're right by the door. But that's it. Those are my 7 things that you can DIY as a beginner and start right now. And build your confidence in knowing that you can DIY. You can do it yourself too in the things in your home. If you just want to try one of them or you want to try all 7. I believe I've tried all 7 myself. And I believe that kind of built my confidence to finally do a makeover in my kitchen, bathroom, and this desk area that I have right here. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I love the comments you guys leave me. You're so nice, and I love the feedback. And knowing that maybe from watching these videos you feel inspired to do a little DIY yourself. That's what I'm here for. So hit that bell and subscribe, or share this with somebody you know that would actually benefit and love this as well and to try a little DIY. Until the next video next week, which I believe next week will either be about DIY for dollar price items or DIY ideas from TikTok. Which one do you want? That's also something you can let me know in the comments below. Okay, I'm done talking. Peace, love, and be safe. I'm sweating under my thighs. Oh my goodness. It's summer. It's summer.